So, it's Nina Morocco.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, Nina Rafaela Morocco is my full name. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Just a bit of introductions then. So, Nina is a BQH practitioner. So, what led you to have a session and set the intention that you did, connecting to your heart consciousness?
It was a swap I was doing with another practitioner, Suzana, and I guess I just wanted to have a deeper understanding of my own soul connections and the lessons that I wanted to understand the lessons that I was needing to learn from having these soul connections. So I just wanted a deeper understanding and more clarity within myself as to why I'm on this journey and this process. So.
But interesting how you would connect with the heart out of everything, the heart itself,
Yeah.
and then kind of finding out it is an entity within itself with emotions and feelings and a purpose and intention with regards to having certain things it wants to experience. And we're going to touch upon twin flame. So when you set this intention for the session, did you expect information regarding twin flames to come out?
I thought some information might come forward about it. I really had no idea what was going to unfold. You just can't. You can't you? You just have no idea where it's going to take you. When I went into that space where I was my heart's consciousness, we were trying to explore what the function of that was. And so my practitioner was trying to ask me things like, so how does the heart work in this, that, and the other? And it was like my higher self was very much like, no, this is to do with the messages the heart is sending out. This is not to do with the physical function of the heart. This is much more about the heart's awareness. But the feelings I was having were so strong I could barely articulate myself. I was just I was kind of stuck for words, because it was just from being in your brain's consciousness to then being part of your heart's consciousness. It's like, it's really indescribable. And the sensations and feelings and emotions I was having at that point, I mean, I think once you experience that, you can't go back to your original understanding of what being conscious is, because there's a whole other level as well. There's loads of other levels, but it was really, really powerful.
And you talk about the heart actually connecting to the brain. So what is the relationship between the heart and the brain, you feel?
So what I was understanding was that the heart sends more messages to the brain than the brain can send to the heart. The heart is very much aware of the fact that the brain is programmed, and the brain is has been programmed and is being programmed. And it sends more messages than it receives from the brain. So that's pretty much what I was getting from that. I mean, the heart is just like the most powerful organ in the body. Yeah, much more powerful than the brain. The brain is more likely to deceive. Than the heart is. The heart can't really lie. So that's what I was understanding.
That is so beautiful. So you have written this amazing article. So if people haven't read it, it will be in the link description, and vice versa. If you're reading the article, you can watch this amazing video in the link. So you're so deep with the way you express yourself, and that's what I absolutely love about you and the way you wrote this article and you shared it. It touched me so deeply. You talk about, like, for example, that we need to cleanse our heart.
Yeah.
Now, I know that we cleanse our aura, and, you know, we do various cleansing throughout the body, but how do you cleanse the heart?
This is a question that my practitioner asked me as well during the session, and I wasn't able to give a straight answer. All I was receiving was that when we are interacting with people and our hearts gift each other frequencies that leave an imprint within us, that we get cluttered, and we just have all these kind of this residue of all these fingerprints of frequencies within us. How to cleanse that, I'm still trying to figure that out myself. I don't know. I guess it's really fully and deeply understanding why we have these connections within us, why we're still carrying these connections, and really sort of tune into why we still have these connections with these people, and what purpose it has, and what lessons we have to learn from these connections. So I guess that's where the thing about the cord cutting came in. I mean, I don't know much about cord cutting, and I don't really have an opinion on it at all. But it came through very sort of strongly that, you know, we need to fully go through the process of understanding to be able to truly release these connections, understanding why they're there and what lessons within them they have for us to learn. That's obviously why we have soul connections, to learn things. So yeah, that's the only thing I can equate it to. Other cleansing of the heart, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe we should just really sort of tune in and express the feelings that come up, and that's
instead of masking it.
Yeah, that's the only other thing I can think of, is just really sort of really expressing the feelings and emotions that come forward when you connect to these feelings that you have for people.
I think I can see how that would be connected to cord cutting or attachments, like, you know, not attachments in a negative sense, but like cords being connected to other individuals who have left that fingerprint on our heart's consciousness. Because if we don't fully understand that connection and we just want to get rid of that feeling and emotion, we just want to cut the cord, right, and get rid of it and mask it in a sense, to not feel it or understand what really is going on here.
Yeah. And that's why I was being told, if we were to cut these cords too soon without fully understanding what's involved, then what the lesson is, then you're going to have to go through that lesson again anyway. Whether it be in this lifetime or another lifetime, you're still going to have to learn that lesson. So it might feel fine to cut it initially and be free of it, but you're still going to have to learn it. So that was really interesting that all came through, because again, it's not something that I've really thought about. So yeah, that was a good point.
The frequency that a heart gives out is like a fingerprint, right? And it recognizes other souls.
Yeah, it recognizes its own match. Is what I was getting. It recognizes soul families. It recognizes big role players within your life. So you have those moments where you meet people and you go, oh my God, I know you. And it's your heart remembering.
I know.
Yeah, and sometimes your brain can't really catch up to it, but you know that there's something so familiar that's just indescribable. That's what that is. Yeah.
I had this beautiful experience. I met a person who I just felt immediately connected to, like exactly how you just described. And, you know, it's as if the conversation just flowed beautifully and naturally. And immediately he said, wow, there's obviously a reason why you were removed from my consciousness, because my higher self would have known that it would have been too painful to not have this connection within my life, right? And that was so beautifully stated, to kind of like, you know, you have these connections and twin flames or soul mates that are meant to cross your path in certain times or the right places, but until then, or until certain journeys have been walked, you know, you have to experience certain things and go through, you know, heartaches and heartbreaks until you find the right vibration or resonance that your soul says, okay, this is now where you need to be.
And you know, you've gone through enough healing within yourself to be able to take on a connection that is that intense.
Absolutely.
Because if you're not healed, you're just going to clash. You're just going to trigger each other, and it won't work. That's why people go into separation, is because there's still healing to be done. It's why people aren't with their soulmate, soul flame, whatever you want to call it. It's because they still need to heal. But yeah, I believe that these meetings of these big important characters within our lives are all orchestrated within the right amount of time. And often you meet these people and have a very short but very passionate affair with them, and then you know, it's leave your life completely, and that's because this healing needs to take place, because they trigger you so much. You see so much within them that is within yourself, and it's not always the nice stuff.
Or maybe the connection has been made, you've made the healing, like you're in a place, you're healed, you're in a place of like fully embodied connection and I don't know, divinity of purpose, and you meet that soul connection, but you recognize that they still have a lot of healing to do. So until they meet the same resonance, you know, there's also going to be that conflict.
Exactly.
How would you say that one could start healing, just through your own experience? What do you think? I think forgiveness plays a big role.
Yeah, definitely. I think, definitely seeing the situations playing out the way they do for a much bigger reason. And unconditional love is the main thing within all of this. When you have these connections with people, there is a sense of unconditional love that you have for them that you don't have for anyone else. And it's really the unconditional love that you have for yourself that is the most important part of it. Everybody looks for the healing out with themselves, or the thing that's outside of themselves. And what the biggest thing to understand, that it's an inner journey. It's all to do with what's inside. So I mean, it's quite tempting to get lots of readings or to get lots of, you know, confirmations and all these things from outside of yourself that you hope is going to give you that, you know, fill that void that has been left. But really it's the unconditional love that you have for yourself is the main thing that gets you through it, and is the main place to start healing yourself. So yeah, I would say it's unconditional love.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, I think there are too many people who do seek outside of themselves instead of just turning inwards.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with third dimensional relationships, is that it's looking out with yourself for something to complete you, or that thing outside of you that makes you feel worthy, that makes you feel important. And that's the thing that I believe these soul connections are here to change. Yeah, people completing you or needing to be with someone to complete you. Yeah, needing someone to complete you, or, you know, this kind of having someone and them being your property, possessing someone, as opposed to just appreciating really who that person is.
Yes.
Um,
I think I understand where you're coming from. It's like,
yeah.
you know, you need to be in a place where you are, like we said, you know, you need to heal, you need to be in a happy place, and your partner should be in the same place, where the coming together should be like the cherry on top. It should
Yeah.
be the, you know, the wow factor, and not the you need to complete me, I need to complete you.
Yeah.
That jealousy factor of control.
Yeah.
It's as if, you know, I kind of use the analogy of a homing pigeon, you know, let me be free and I'll always come home to you, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
try and trap me, I'm gonna try and get away. I'm gonna try and, you know, get out of the grasp of control.
Yeah. It's, yeah, these sort of third, I mean, I think we're at a point where we're really needing to shift third dimensional relationships that are based on possession and
Lack of trust.
yes, and yeah, this conditional love and this codependency. I can't be without you. I can't, you know, I need all these things, shifting from that vibration to a vibration of all it is complete and utter unconditional love. I have these feelings for you, but that does not mean I have to be with you or I have to have you in my life. I can love you from over here, and that is perfectly okay. It doesn't change it. So yeah, I think that's the stage that we're at, is that we're having to really shift these ideas so that we can move forward as a collective. Because it's not working. It's just not working. Relationships they're a minefield, an absolute minefield. And there's so many people just projecting all of their unhealed stuff onto each other and all that gunk, and it's not working. So there's got to be another way, and that's why I believe, you know, twin flames and all these connections are here, is to really shift that idea of what. So it's much deeper, and it's much more about a personal journey of healing than the romanticized Disney kind of things that go on. It's not Disney, it's brutal. It's brutal. So yeah, that's why.
Okay. Well, you know, what did you mean by when you say that someone else's frequencies stay with you when they touch you energetically? And then oftentimes you can pick up on that, or they can pick up on that. You know, is it almost like that intuitive thought when you know someone's going to ring? How did that information come through, and how did you interpret that?
It really just flowed out of me without me having any conscious thought or memory of what was coming through. It was just coming through me.
Well, you said other times someone else's frequency stays with you because they're holding onto you energetically.
Yes.
And often you can pick up on that even if you're not physically near the person.
Yeah, so it's a bit like a telepathy of sorts, an intuitive kind of telepathy. You can find yourself thinking about a person and not sure why, because you've got no reason to be, and you're not sure why that's popped up in your head, and then you get to a point where you go, wait a minute, it's not my thoughts, it's their thoughts.
Okay.
You're picking up on their thoughts, and it's because there's this channel frequency from each other's hearts that is able to give you that information. So that's my perception.
Yeah, well, it is definitely an interesting point of view.
Yeah.
It also makes you kind of think, what is the purpose behind that? Because especially if the other person has moved on or no longer in your life.
Yeah.
And maybe from, you know, if I have to put myself in that scenario, or or shoes, I would say that my mind will go back to past events or experiences only because of things that I felt I did that may have affected them in some way. Now, the only way I can resolve that is by like the Ho'oponopono, like, I'm sorry, I love you, forgive me. Obviously, the exchange that took place here happened for a reason, and
Yeah. I think sometimes there's a lot of unfinished business that goes on between people. And I think that's probably a great deal as to why these situations come about. There's lessons and healings still needing to be learned there.
And
so,
naturally, that's why people want to cut cords, right?
Yes, exactly. And instead of really sort of exploring what those things are so you can truly heal them and you can truly get to a comfortable place where you can release a lot of it, people prefer to cut these cords instead, which, as we mentioned before, maybe isn't the best thing to do.
Yes. Yeah. So you say that your heart feels you as much as you feel your heart. But I think we've kind of cut that connection between like really tuning in and thinking, well, my heart actually goes through a lot and I don't acknowledge that,
Yeah, we kind of leave our hearts kind of out in the cold for a bit, don't we? You sort of leave them all alone and they're so busy doing stuff for us and we have no idea because we're programmed to ignore what our hearts are up to. But they're super busy and important things. I think the time when I began to really tune into what my heart was doing was when I started having heart activations, which are incredibly powerful things that it kind of makes you jolt back into your heart because, most of the time you just go around and you're in your head and you're thinking all your thoughts and then you have a heart activation and it's like, whoa, okay, there's something really powerful going on in there. I think once they start, it's that kind of brings you right back to basics of what you need to lead with.
Yeah. And as we move into the higher vibrational frequencies of like the 5D, unconditional love plays a really big role within all of this. So meeting that equivalent twin flame or soul connections is the coming together and raising Earth's consciousness.
The love between these two souls, well, one soul but two bodies, is so powerful and so palpable. When these people are together, it's not just them who feel it, it's everybody who surrounds them that feel it. It's a really big and powerful energy that they both create because it's the same vibration. Basically, when it comes together, it's like concentric circles, ripples of that energy just goes out and out and out.
Yes.
And I think the energy that the chords create as well, there's something really beautiful about the chords that connect these soul connections. There's from my own experience, it's like a rainbow chord of your chakras because it's the same frequency that your chakras make. So it's a rainbow chord that connects your hearts, and that chord, like a toroidal field, can span the earth basically, and that really lifts and shifts the vibration of the planet. As my understanding of it. I could be totally wrong about that, but
no, I think you're absolutely right. And I feel like once you really understand or tune into this vibrations and frequencies of the heart, and for example, connecting with the rainbow colors, the intention is extremely important here. So would you say that a positive frame of mind or living a positive, uplifting life is really important to really keep the energies high and can always connecting with the higher divine energies of source, or attracting the energies in your life that will be for the highest good?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to keep your focus within your own healing, because that is the most important thing. A lot of the time it's very easy to slip into just obsessing and putting all your energy into the connection with that other person, and that can really be sort of detrimental to your own process and your own healing. So I think, the most important thing to do is really, just live within your own vibration and your own, because the more you lift yourself, the more you're lifting both of your frequencies. So I think that's the best thing to do.
And I also think that you need to be conscious enough to not allow your or other people to drag your consciousness down, or your frequency, because that can also be easily done if you don't have the boundaries in place.
It can be very hard to express what these connections are like to people, because people automatically put their third dimensional perspective of human connections onto it. These connections aren't third dimensional, they span all dimensions. So it can be difficult to communicate really what is going on here. So yes, it can drag you down if you share it too much with people that don't quite
understand it.
It can really pull you out of it and make you feel like you're going mad.
Yes. Well, whatever you're going through, you and everyone watching, me, all of us have love dilemmas and love relationships with ourselves or with other people, that you don't have, like, for example, in having a beyond quantum healing session, we do the heart and mind coherence, right? And you don't have to have a session to do that. Like, just try and tune in with yourself and your heart as often as you can. But as well as, I feel like it's important to educate yourself on the subject of what consciousness is, what the heart coherence or connection is, that you can connect with through an intention to anything and everything. And also not just take it for face value, but really truly try and understand what's going on. And through that, then apply healing to the best of your ability, to how you perceive it to be right for you. Like, because our perspectives and everything changes all the time. And you may not understand something now, but things may unfold later, and the light bulb would go off and say,
yeah, exactly.
I feel like twin flames are something that a lot of people are talking about right now, and it's playing a big role, so much so that it's like the next hype, like I think we need to be careful with regards to using that term too loosely, because it's like we're in a society that we are disconnected so much that the slightest connection, it's like, I want love, I want to feel love, I feel we're so lonely that it just giving that inch makes people feel like this must be it, this must be my twin flame. So what advice or information would you like to share with regards to things going on in life with people?
It's really easy to be captivated by the romanticized ideas of what twin flame or these soul connection type journeys are about. It does sound very captivating and special when you first hear about it, and I think a lot of people hear about the concept and immediately want one. So
right,
for one. But my understanding is that the twin flames that I have come into contact with, and I know, seem to come from an angle of I didn't ask for it. I wasn't looking for it. It landed on my lap, and I was not ready for any of that. So it's not really something that you look for. It's something that's already decided for you, and you have absolutely no control over it. So I think my advice to anyone who hears about this stuff, really be careful about where you're getting your information from. Because my understanding is that there's a lot of information that's coming out about this stuff that's not of a benevolent nature. It's not, that is more trying to steer people off the track. Because it doesn't benefit everybody on this planet to have this information, and to so yes, be very careful about where you are getting the information from, and use your own discernment. If it does not resonate with you, then don't buy into it. And understand that people are making money out of this stuff. They are, and people will say what people want to hear so that it benefits them. And I think there's a lot of that going on within the community. So I think, yes, use your own discernment, really understand and really explore and research what these connections are truly about, and really go on your own spiritual journey. I mean, when you have one of these connections, you are immediately catapulted on a spiritual journey anyway. You can't help it. That's what these connections do. But really, it's go within for the information. Don't seek it out with yourself. It's very easy to say that, but it's not very easy to do that when you're in one of these connections.
But it's very true.
Yeah, it is. Because that's something that's been coming up a lot from myself recently, is that you really need to make sure you watch where your information is coming from, because a lot of these social media groups and things are not necessarily on the right track with it all. It is, a lot of people are still within that 3D concept of how relationships should be. So and so's not acting this way, therefore they're not doing this.
Oh my God, don't get me stuck on that, I feel like a lot of us still feel like, okay, I need a good job. I need to then find someone. I need to start a family. And by the time I'm 30, 40 years old, I hit a midlife crisis. And what's my life purpose?
Yep. Yep. Totally.
I think, do you feel, well, I think, but what do you think? Do you think twin flames are one of the most difficult relationships?
I think it's the most difficult relationship, because it's dealing with your own soul. So it's hard to walk away from your own soul. Like, it really is.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. And that's why you're saying, please, it is not something to be desired, but if you
No, God, no.
That's right.
No, it's not. It's and that I can only say it again. It's not Disney. It's brutal. Like, it really is. Because every insecurity and every worry and every trouble and every trigger that you've ever had inside you is presented to you immediately. So it's right in front of you, and it's scary.
It's like your twin flame will actually push you into those aspects that you need to look at and heal.
Yeah. And you can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it apart from face it.
Yes. And I guess what a blessing in a sense, because for us to actually get out of this paradigm of this cycle of reincarnation and being stuck, we need to. It's most critical that we now move forward and actually understand what is holding us back and how we can push forward to actually raise our consciousness and wake up.
Yeah, exactly. exactly. And yeah, it's not going to come from someone else. It has to come from within you. The healing has to come from within you. And it's the understanding as well that there really is no separation between us and other people. There is no separation. It's all completely an illusion, because we collectively, we are one consciousness, but when you have these connections on a soul level, you are one. So it's taking that sort of bigger collective idea, but toning it down into a soul level, and really coming to a place where you can accept that there really is no separation between you. It is just this third dimensional reality that we are operating in, that gives us the illusion of separation. On every other dimension, these connections are already sorted, and it's already, it's the fact that we come here to have these experiences, to learn, to grow as souls, which give us the illusion of separation. So,
Yes. Yeah.
knowing that, and truly knowing that and understanding that, is the best way to navig's these things. And I think naturally at a point you do come to that understanding. So there's less of a desperation to actually make something physically happen. It's not necessary, because you can fulfill that within yourself, because you know it's already there.
Yeah. I think as well, we need to be aware to feel our emotions and not be scared to do so.
Yeah.
Because shutting out off our emotions affect us as well on so many levels.
Yeah, it's being completely authentic too. That I think that's one of the biggest things, is actually being completely authentic with your feelings and expressing them as authentically as possible. And just leaving that fear behind. And I think once you do that, and once you actually start authentically being who you truly are and expressing what is happening for you, that's when things shift. That's when you kind of jolt up to the next level. And as soon as you start being that authentic person, then everything just kind of lifts up a bit. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that's true. Yeah, I think a lot of older generation people, we've grown, especially within the male environment, they struggle a lot because of, I need to be this man, I need to be projecting this certain image, I need to be this certain person, and it's all society.
Yeah, I need to be the breadwinner, I need to be the one in control, I need to be the patriarchal aspects, but actually no, I mean, men go through a lot. They have a lot of pressure on them to be this thing and hide what is naturally within themselves, these true emotions and this true heart that they have. They are programmed to suppress so much and act in a way that is completely unnatural to them, because of the way society has molded what men should be. Like, men shouldn't cry, absolutely not. Some of the strongest, most wonderful men in my life cry like that, and I absolutely celebrate it and adore it, because to release your emotions is the key. You have to release that stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Keep it all inside, that makes you ill.
Yeah, I think crying is the best type of healing. If you feel like crying or just letting it out, just go for it. Just do it, cry your heart out and get it all out, and you will feel better for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, once you realize that, because there's been so many generations of people who, oh, you don't cry, you don't cry, no, that's not what you do. And
Yeah. Oh.
that's the best way to release it. And I really feel for men that are kind of trapped in this cage of I can't truly express the things that are going on, so I'm gonna have a drink, or I'm gonna take that, or I'm, and it's like, and women as well, I mean, it needs to really move on a step, because it doesn't work by just rubbing it all out. That's how people get ill.
Yeah, masking it through alcohol, drugs, addiction.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. People need to express what they're truly feeling. Running away from these situations and running away from these big things that happen in life is not going to give anybody any healing or any.
Yes.
When these big things happen in your life, it can be anything. You need to face it head on, and it can be hard when you feel like everything's on top of you. But when you stand up and face these issues head on, there is a power that comes over you, a kind of mastery, a self-mastery that comes over you, and an acceptance of what is and what is happening that doesn't come from the bottom of a bottle.
Yes. Yeah.
And people need to try and understand that more.
Oh, it was so wonderful speaking to you today.
Yeah, lovely speaking to you too.
Well, I know that you left us with words, and it reads, when feeling overwhelmed by the connection or distracted from life to a detrimental level, tap into the connection through the heart and allow that creative force of energy to flow through you.
Yeah.
Well, I am very much looking forward to hear more about your heart connections and you writing more about your journey with Beyond Quantum Healing.
Yeah,
I think this is just the start to something amazing that will be unfolding for you.
Oh, thank you.
Brilliant. Where can people find you, and is there anything else you would like to leave us before we close today?
Yeah, they can find me on my website, and that is www.rafaelasoulsessions.com. I'm also on Facebook by the same name. I don't think I have any other words of wisdom other than thank you very much for having me on. It's been so lovely to connect with you. I feel really honoured. Sorry, that's my little girl. I feel really honoured to have been on your show today. So thank you so much for having me. And it's been so lovely to connect.
Just in time for the little one getting active. Brilliant.